Welcome back. So today we are doing our continuation of our exercise 3.2 of our third chapter, pair of linear equation in two variables of class 10. So let's move on to our question number 4. So this is our question number 4. Which of the following pairs of linear equation are consistent or inconsistent? If consistent, then you need to obtain the solution graphically. And our first part is given as x plus y equals 5 and 2x plus 2y equals 10. So what is the first step? We find out our a1, a2, b1, b2 and c1, c2. So let's write them. a1 is equal to 1, a2 is equal to 2. b1 is equal to 1, b2 equals 2, c1 equals minus 5, c2 equals minus 10. Now our next step is to find out our ratios. So a1 by a2 is equal to 1 by 2, b1 by b2 is equal to 1 by 2 and c1 by c2 is equal to minus 5 by minus 10, which is again 1 by 2. So we have got a1 by a2 equals b1 by b2 equals c1 by c2. Now what is this condition tells us? It says that the given two lines are coincident, or it has infinitely many solutions, and it is consistent. So if it is consistent, what have they asked to find out? They have asked us to find out the solution graphically. So let's find out our solution set for our first equation. Which is our first equation? X plus y equals 5. Then what is our solution set? We find out different values of y for different values of x. So first I am taking the value of x as 0. Then what do I get? From here I can write y is equal to 5 minus x. So when x is equal to 0, y is equal to 5. Now when x is equal to 5, y is equal to 0. And when x is equal to 1, I get y is equal to 4. So now we have got the solution set for the first equation. Now let's find out the solution set for the second equation. Now what is the second equation? The second equation is 2x plus 2y equals 10. Now this equation can be written as x plus y equals 5. How did I get that? I just cancel the 2. So here you get y is equal to 5 minus x, which is the same as our first equation. So we get the same solution set, which is x, y, and when x is equal to 0, you get y equals 5. When x is equal to 5, you get y equals 0. When x is equal to 1, you get y equals 4. And we've already said that the two lines are coincident. So now let's plot the graph. I have taken down and written a solution set of both our equations. And now let us plot the graph here. So what is the first point? When x is equal to 0, I get y is equal to 5. So x is equal to 0 and y equals 5. Then x is equal to 5 and y equals 0. So x is 5 and y equals 0. Next is 1, 4. 1 at x and 4 at y. So now let's draw a line through the points. And this is our line, and the equation is x plus y equals 5. Now what about our second equation? The points are same. So you get the same line here, and you can write the equation here as 2x plus 2y equals 10. Now they've asked to find out the solution graphically. So what are our different points? There are infinite number of points in this graph. So which are the points? We get 5, 0. Here you get 1, 4. And this is the point 0, 5. If you take 3 on x-axis, the point takes the value 2 on y-axis. So this is the point 3, 2. So this is how you plot the graph and you find the solutions. So how will we write the answer as? The given pair of equation is consistent and is coincident. Therefore, it has infinitely many solutions. So this is our answer. So now let's move on to our next question, which is part 2. So this is a part 2, which is x minus y equals 8 and 3x minus 3y equals 16. So first let us take down and write our a1, a2, b1, b2 and c1, c2. So here a1 equals 1, b1 equals minus 1 and c1 equals minus 8. Now what is a2? It is 3, b2 is minus 3 and c2 is minus 16. Now let's find out the ratios. A1 by A2 equals 1 by 3, B1 by B2 equals 1 by 3 and C1 by C2 is minus 8 by minus 16, which is 1 by 2. So what condition have we got? A1 by A2 equals B1 by B2 is not equal to C1 by C2. So from here what can you say? The given lines are parallel and hence have no solution. Therefore, it is inconsistent. So this is our answer. So now let's move on to our next question, which is part 3. So this is a third question, which is 2x plus y minus 6 equals 0 and 4x minus 2y minus 4 equals 0. So what is the first step? To take down and write a1, a2, b1, b2 and c1, c2. So a1 equals 2, b1 equals 1 and c1 equals minus 6. a2 equals 4, b2 equals minus 2 and c2 equals minus 4. Now let's find out the ratios. A1 by A2 is 2 by 4, which is equal to 1 by 2. Now B1 by B2 is equal to minus 1 by 2 and C1 by C2 is minus 6 by minus 4, which is 3 by 2. Now what is the condition then? A1 by A2 is not equal to B1 by B2. Then what happens? Therefore, the lines intersect each other and has exactly one solution. And therefore, they are consistent. So if it is consistent, what have they asked us to do? To find out the solution graphically. So now let's do it graphically. So now we are going to find out the solution graphically. For that, first what should we do? We need to derive the solution set. So let's take down and write our first equation, which is 2x plus y minus 6 equals 0, which implies y equals 6 minus 2x. Now let's draw the solution set box and write x, y and find out at least 3 values of y for the corresponding values of x. So first, what value of x can I take so that I can avoid decimals in y? I can take x as 0. Then what do I get? I get y is equal to 6. Now when x is equal to 3, what happens? I get y equals 0. Now when x is equal to 2, what do I get? Y is equal to 2. So now let's find out the solution set for our second equation. This was our first equation. Second equation is 4x minus 2y minus 4 equals 0. So this implies 2x minus y minus 2 equals 0, and that implies y is equal to 2x minus 2. Now let's find out the solution set for the second equation. I write x, y, and let's take different values of x. So first I can take x as 0. Then what do I get y as? When x is equal to 0, I get y as minus 2. Now when x is equal to 1. Then what do I get y as? When x is equal to 1, I get y as 0. When x is equal to 1, y is 0. Now what is the next point? I can take x as 2. Then I get the point y as 2. So when x is equal to 2, y is equal to 2. Now let's plot the graph. So now let's plot the values. Our first value is 0, 6. So 0 on x-axis and 6 on y-axis. 3, 0. 3 on x and 0 on y. So this is a point. Now 2, 2. 2 on x-axis and 2 on y-axis. This is a point. So now let's join all these points to get a straight line. So this is our first line, which is 2x plus y minus 6 equals 0. Now let's plot the graph of our second line. So what is our second line points? So what is the points of our second line? 0, minus 2. So 0 on x-axis and minus 2 on y-axis. This is a point. 1, 0. 1 on x and 0 on y. So that's a point. 2, 2. Again, we have the same point. 2, 2. So now let's join the points to get a straight line, joining all these points. So this is our line, and the equation is 4x minus 2y minus 4 equals 0. So these are our two equations. Now these two lines intersect at a point 2, 2. So now this is our solution. So how do you write the answer? Therefore, x, y equals 2, 2. So let's move on to our next question, which is part 4. Now this is our part 4, which is 2x minus 2y minus 2 equals 0 and 4x minus 4y minus 5 equals 0. So what is our first step? To take down and write our A1, A2, B1, B2 and C1, C2. So A1 equals 2, B1 equals minus 2, C1 equals minus 2. A2 equals 4, B2 equals minus 4 and C2 equals minus 5. Now let's find out the ratios. A1 by A2 is equal to 2 by 4, which is equal to 1 by 2. Now B1 by B2 is equal to minus 2 by minus 4, which is again equal to 1 by 2. Now what is C1 by C2? It is minus 2 by minus 5, which is 2 by 5. So what is the condition we get? We get it as A1 by A2 equals B1 by B2 is not equal to C1 by C2. Now what does this condition tell us? It says that the given pair of lines are parallel. Therefore, the given pair of lines are parallel and hence it have no solutions. And then what can you say? It is inconsistent. So this is our answer. Now let's move on to our next question. This is question number 5. So this is our fifth question, and that is half the perimeter of a rectangular garden whose length is 4 meter more than its width is 36 meter. Find the dimension of the garden graphically. So first let us draw a rectangular garden here whose length and breadth we are taking it as two different variables. So answer, let length of the rectangle be x and let breadth of the rectangle be y. So I am taking the length as x and breadth as y. Now what is the condition they have given? Half the perimeter of a rectangular garden whose length is 4 meter more than the width. So our length is 4 meter more than the width which implies x minus y equals 4. This is our first equation. Now, what is the other condition given? Half the perimeter of the rectangular garden. What is the perimeter of the rectangular garden? It is 2 into L plus B. So, here our length is x and breadth is y. So, half the perimeter, which is 2x plus 2y, is given as 36, which is equal to 36. So this can be written as 2x plus 2y equals 2 into 36. 2 gets cancelled, which implies x plus y equals 36, which is our second equation. Now, find the dimensions of the garden graphically. They have asked us to solve this two equations graphically. So, to find graphically, what do we do first? We first find the solution set. So, let's find the solution set for our first equation. This equation can be written as y is equal to x minus 4. So, let's find out the solution set for the first equation. X and y. What value of x can I take first? Let me take x as 0. Then I get y as minus 4. So when x is equal to 0, I get y as minus 4. Now what is the second value I can take? I can take x as 4. Then I get y as 0. Now what can be the third value? When I take x as 8, I get y as 4. So now we have got the solution set for our first equation. Now let us find the solution set for our second equation. Now our second equation is x plus y equals 36. So here this implies y is equal to 36 minus x. So now let's find out the solution set x and y. Now what are the values which I can take for x as? Let me take x as 20. Then what do I get y as? I get y as 16. Next I take x as 16. Then I get y as 20. Now next I take x as 24. Then I get y as 12. So now I have got the solution set for both equations. Now let's plot the graph. So now I have taken down and written both the equations and the solution set. Now let's plot the graph. So first point is 0 minus 4. So x axis 0 and minus 4 on y axis. Now next is 4, 0. 4 on x and 0 on y. Now 8, 4. 8 on x axis and 4 on y axis. So this is a point. So now let's draw the line joining all these 3 points. You get a line like this. And you name this equation as x minus y equals 4. Now let's plot the points of the second equation. So that is 20, 16. So 20 here and 16 here. This is our point. Now 16, 20. So 16 here on x-axis and 20 on y-axis. This is a point. Now 24, 12. 24 on x-axis and 12 on y-axis. So now let's join these points. You get a straight line like this. And you name this equation as x plus y equals 36. Now where does these lines intersect? It intersects at the point 20, 16. So what is the dimensions of a rectangular garden? The dimension, we have taken a length as x, which we got it as 20 meter, and breadth we took it as y, which we got it as 16 meter. So this is our answer. Let's move on to our next question, which is question number 6. So this is our sixth question, which is given the linear equation 2x plus 3y minus 8 equals 0. Then write another linear equation in two variables such that the geometrical representation of the pair so formed is intersecting lines. So now what is the condition for a pair of linear equation to form an intersecting lines when it is represented graphically? The condition is A1 by A2 is not equal to B1 by B2. So you need to find out another linear equation such that this condition is satisfied. So already you're given with one equation which is 2x plus 3y minus 8 equals 0. So how will you find out the other equation? You can either change any one of the coefficients of any one of the variable or interchange the coefficients. So here I'm taking 3x plus 2y minus 8 equals 0 as the other equation. Then let us just check that. A1 by A2, what do I get? 2 by 3. Now B1 by B2, I get it as 3 by 2. So here already A1 by A2 is not equal to B1 by B2. So our condition is satisfied and this is our answer. Now let's move on to next question, which is part 2. Now this is part 2, which is parallel lines. So what is the condition for a pair of linear equation in two variables to be parallel lines? It is A1 by A2 equals B1 by B2 is not equal to C1 by C2. So you need to see that A1 by A2 is equal to B1 by B2, but it is not equal to C1 by C2. Already you're given with one equation which is 2x plus 3y minus 8 equals 0. So what can I take the other equation? I can keep the coefficients of x and y same, because y, a1 by a2 is equal to b1 by b2. So 2x plus 3y, but I should change the constant here. So maybe I can take it as minus 12 equals 0. Now let's check whether our equation satisfies the condition for parallel line. So a1 by a2 is 2 by 2, which is equal to 1. b1 by b2 is 3 by 3, which is again equal to 1, and C1 by C2 is minus 8 by minus 12. Minus 8 by minus 12, which is 2 by 3. So this satisfies our condition A1 by A2 is equal to B1 by B2 is not equal to C1 by C2. Hence this is our answer. Now let's move on to our next question, which is part 3. Now this is part 3 and they have given coincident lines. So what is our condition for a pair of linear equation in two variables to be coincident? It is A1 by A2 equals B1 by B2 equals C1 by C2. So all the three ratios should be equal. So already you've got one equation which is 2x plus 3y minus 8 equals 0. Now how can I get another equation such that this condition is satisfied? I can multiply this equation with any number. So here if I'm multiplying this equation by 2, what do I get? 4x plus 6y minus 16 equals 0. Now let's check our condition. Now what is A1 by A2? It is 2 by 4, which is 1 by 2. Now B1 by B2 is 3 by 6, which is again 1 by 2. And what is C1 by C2? It is minus 8 by minus 16, which is again 1 by 2. So this satisfies our conditions for coincident lines, and this is our answer. Now let's move on to our next question. So this is our 7th question, which is draw the graphs of the equation x minus y plus 1 equals 0 and 3x plus 2y minus 12 equals 0, and determine the coordinates of the vertices of the triangle formed by these lines and the x-axis. Also, they have asked you to shade the triangular region. So first let us take down and write our equations, that is x minus y plus 1 equals 0, which is equation number 1. And what is our equation 2? It is 3x plus 2y minus 12 equals 0. This is our equation number 2. Now let us find the solution set for the first equation. So here this you can write it as y is equal to x plus 1. Now let us draw the solution set box and write x, y and find at least 3 values. Now when I put x equals 0, what do I get? Y as 1. Now when I put x equals minus 1, I get y as 0. Now when I put x as 1, I get y as 2. So now we've got the solution set for the first equation. Now let us find the solution set for the second equation. So this can be written as 2y is equal to 12 minus 3x, which implies y is equal to 12 minus 3x by 2. Now let's draw the solution set box and write x, y and find at least 3 values. Now when I put x as 4, what do I get? I get y as 0. Now when I put x as 0, I get y as 6. Now when I put x as 2, what do I get? 12 minus 6 by 2, which is 3. So I get y as 3. So now I have got the solution set for both equations. Now let's plot the graph. So now I have taken down and written the equations and the solution set. Now let's plot the graph. So our first point is 0, 1. 0 at x-axis and 1 at y-axis. This is the point. Minus 1, 0. Minus 1 at x-axis and 0 at y-axis. Now the next point is 1, 2. So 1 at x-axis and 2 at y-axis. Now let's join these points. So you get a straight line like this. And you name the equation as x minus y plus 1 equals 0. Now let's plot the next line. That is 4, 0. 4 at x-axis and 0 at y-axis. 0, 6. 0 at x-axis and 6 at y-axis. 2, 3. 2 at x-axis and 3 at y-axis. So now let's join these points. Then you get a line like this. And you name this equation as 3x plus 2y minus 12 equals 0. Now where does these two lines intersect? It intersects at 2, 3. And your question was to shade the triangular part and to find the coordinates where these lines or the triangle with the x-axis. So here at x-axis and this point is 4, 0 and this point is 2, 3. So now you have got the triangle. Now they have asked to shade the triangular part, which we are shading like this. So this was our answer. And so that's all for today. Next class we'll move on to our next exercise, which is exercise 3.3. So till then,